Welcome in, everybody. Today we're going deep on Cait Flanders' book, The Year of Less.
Ooh, yeah, this is a good one.
Have you heard of this one?
Oh, absolutely.
It's all about, well, she decides to not buy anything new for a whole year.
Wow.
And we're going to get into, like, what does that actually look like?
Right.
Do you do it? Could I do it?
I don't know.
Like, how does that even work?
Yeah.
And it's more than just the stuff, though, right?
Yeah, and that's what I think is so interesting about this particular book and about Cait's journey is how she weaves together, her personal journey and kind of what leads her to this experiment with financial growth and self-discovery.
Yeah, so it's not just like a random, I'm just going to stop buying things.
Right.
Like there was a whole backstory that led to it.
Totally, yeah. She's really honest about her past. So she talks about growing up in a financially aware household, lots of conversations about money.
Okay.
But she also reveals her own struggles with, overspending, alcohol dependence, even binge watching TV.
It's so interesting because it's like she knew all the right things.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that, we always do the right thing.
Exactly, yeah. And I think a lot of us can relate to that disconnect, right? Between, we know what we should be doing. Yeah. But when it comes to our spending habits, sometimes it's a totally different story. And so I think that's why her honesty about these, sometimes compulsive behaviors, I think makes her so relatable.
Totally. So if she knew all this stuff growing up, what was that moment? What was that turning point that made her be like, okay, I have to do this crazy experiment?
Well, so picture this.
Okay.
It's a sweltering summer day, and Cait's craving this, delicious black bean salad.
Sounds good.
But she can't find the can opener.
Oh, my gosh.
And this is her breaking point. It's like the seemingly mundane event just, pushes her over the edge.
It's so funny how sometimes it's the smallest thing.
I know.
That just sends you, over...
Totally, yeah. It becomes this catalyst for, a much bigger realization, which is that she's surrounded by all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not actually bringing her joy. It's just creating more stress.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And, sometimes we need to just, hit that wall before we're ready for that change,
Yeah, for sure. So is that what happened? She got rid of all this stuff and then suddenly everything was just simple.
Well, as she starts decluttering, really going through her belongings and getting rid of things, she starts uncovering all these hidden talents and passions that have been buried under all this stuff.
Okay.
So for example, she rediscovers a love for writing, which she had kind of given up on years ago.
Oh, wow.
So it's these belongings were literally blocking her path,
Yeah.
It wasn't just about freeing up physical space in her apartment. It was about clearing mental space for growth as well.
That's so cool. You'd think everyone would be supportive, right?
Yeah.
Good for you. You're making this positive change. I imagine not everyone was, though.
Yeah. So she actually faced quite a bit of judgment.
Really?
Yeah. Some friends question her wardrobe choices, now that she's not shopping as much.
Yeah.
And some people called her apartment soulless.
Oh, wow.
And even online, she was dealing with trolls criticizing her lifestyle.
It's just so interesting how people feel the need to judge other people's choices,
right,
when it has literally nothing to do with them.
Totally, yeah. And it speaks to the pressure that a lot of us feel, right, to conform to certain spending patterns, keep up with the Joneses kind of thing.
Totally.
And so I think, Cait's story, what it does is it gives us permission to kind of question those norms,
Yeah.
and to define success on our own terms.
Absolutely. So was she going through all this by herself, or did she have a good support system during this experiment?
That's a good question. I mean, thankfully she did. So she had a really, really strong network of close friends who provided, accountability, encouragement, and a lot of laughter along the way.
That's good.
Yeah, it was crucial for her to have that support system.
I can imagine, yeah, because it's you need those people to kind of bounce ideas off of and be there for you when you're oh my gosh, this is so hard.
Exactly, yeah. So it's a reminder that surrounding yourself with the right people can make a world of difference when we're trying to make big changes in our lives.
For sure. So it wasn't just about her and shopping though, right? Did this whole minimalist experiment affect other parts of her life?
Yeah, you're right. So it had this ripple effect, The shopping ban kind of became this catalyst for reevaluating all of her priorities.
Okay.
So she starts finding joy in non-material things, right? Like experiences, relationships, personal growth. It was like she was crafting a life that actually reflected her values.
That's amazing. So it was like everything was looking up. Was it all smooth sailing from there?
Life rarely goes according to plan.
That's true.
So Cait faced like a major challenge midway through the year.
Okay.
And this is where things get a bit more delicate, I guess. So her parents decide to get a divorce.
Oh, wow.
And this was like this deeply personal event that just like really tested her coping mechanisms, It must have been so hard to be going through that kind of emotional turmoil.
Yeah, absolutely.
While also trying to like maintain this year-long commitment to not buying anything new.
I can imagine, like, it's just like one more thing to add to like the list of things you're dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think it also kind of highlights the fact that, even when we're making positive changes in our lives, life can still throw these curveballs.
For sure.
And it also underscores the limitations of material possessions, right?
Yeah.
Like when it comes to dealing with real, like, emotional pain, sometimes retail therapy just doesn't cut it.
No, sometimes you need real therapy.
Exactly.
So it's just a good reminder to, like, be kind to ourselves during those hard times.
Yeah.
And, like, we all go through stuff, so
they do.
Just being mindful of that.
For sure, yeah. And for Cait, she was very honest about, like, her struggles during this period.
Okay.
So she admits that she considered like going back to alcohol as a way to cope with the pain.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of courage to be that vulnerable, I think.
For sure.
But what's really inspiring is that she ultimately chose to find healthier ways to cope.
Yeah.
So she started focusing on things that she could control.
Okay.
And making choices that aligned with her goals. And one of the most significant shifts for her was learning to say no.
Not just like no to buying things.
Oh, that too, but it was bigger than that.
Okay.
It was like saying no to draining work, to unhealthy relationships, to external pressures that weren't actually serving her.
I see.
So it was about setting boundaries
and
creating space for what truly mattered.
So it's like she was decluttering her life in a much bigger sense than just her physical possessions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did that lead to any lasting changes? Like, was she able to stick with this whole year of less thing?
She did.
Okay.
Yeah. And the results were really significant.
Okay.
So like a year later, she was completely debt-free.
Wow.
Working for herself.
Okay.
And living a much more intentional life.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's a powerful example of how simplifying your life can actually lead to more freedom and fulfillment.
It's like the opposite of what we're kind of like told, right? Yeah. Like you need this, this, and this to be happy.
Exactly.
But it sounds like she found the opposite, that she actually was happier with less.
Totally, yeah. And, Cait's not claiming that she's achieved, like, some perfect minimalist lifestyle. But in the book, she shares, like, practical strategies for how to maintain this more mindful approach to consumption.
Okay.
Even after the year is over.
So it's like, it's not about like being perfect at it. Yes. It's about figuring out what works for you and your life.
Yeah, she emphasizes that change is an ongoing journey.
Absolutely.
It's not like you reach this destination and then you're done.
Yeah.
It's about making those conscious choices every day.
Yeah.
And creating a life that feels authentic to you.
So what are some, like, if you were to like say like the top things that we learned from her journey?
Oh, that's a good question. It's amazing how one person's story can like spark so much self-reflection.
I know, right?
So I don't know, if we were to distill her experience into like 10 key points.
A top 10 list. I love it.
Yeah, kind of like a cheat sheet for intentional living.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so we'll start with the first 5.
Okay.
And then we'll get to the rest after a quick break. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, so number 1, acknowledge your spending triggers.
Okay.
So what situations, what emotions, even what people make you want to spend money.
Oh, that's good.
Right. So
I'm already feeling called out.
Right.
My spending triggers like stress.
Start shopping. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big one.
Big time.
Okay. Number 2, declutter with intention.
Okay.
So don't just shove things in a closet.
Yeah.
Ask yourself if each item like serves a purpose or brings you joy.
That's like Marie Kondo.
It is like Marie Kondo.
But with a financial twist.
Exactly.
I love it.
Okay, number 3, define success on your own terms.
Oh.
So what does a fulfilling life look like to you?
Okay.
It might not involve a fancy car or designer clothes, and that's totally okay.
I love that. Permission to ditch those expectations.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, what's next?
Number 4, Embrace the power of no.
Okay.
And this applies to purchases, obviously, but also commitments, relationships, anything that drains your energy.
Yeah.
Or doesn't align with your values.
So important. Setting boundaries is like
huge.
So important.
So important for self-care.
For your sanity.
Yes.
Yes. What's number 5?
And finally, number 5, cultivate supportive relationships.
Okay.
So surround yourself with people who encourage you.
Yeah.
And, make you laugh through the ups and downs.
It's like your own personal cheer squad.
Oh.
Right. Like your personal development.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we'll dive into the remaining 5 after a quick break.
Awesome.
Okay, so picking up where we left off, number 6.
Okay, hit me with it.
This one is all about finding joy in those non-material things. Experiences, connection, creativity, nature, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
These are the things that, really enrich our lives.
Yeah.
Not just like a shopping spree or whatever,
No, absolutely. It's so easy to get caught up in that cycle of just wanting more stuff.
Right.
And forgetting about the things that actually bring us joy.
Exactly. And, Cait talks about how she found so much joy in spending time in nature, connecting with friends, pursuing her creative hobbies.
Yeah.
These things brought her a much more lasting happiness than anything she could ever buy,
Totally. And it's a good reminder that those things are often free or very low cost.
Exactly. Yeah, they're accessible to everyone. It's just about shifting our mindset away from consumerism.
Absolutely. Okay, so on to number 7.
Number 7, this is a big one. Be prepared for setbacks.
Okay.
Because change, it's not always linear.
Yeah.
There are going to be bumps along the way, moments of weakness, times when you slip back into old habits.
I feel that, it's so easy to get discouraged.
It is.
When you mess up, you're just ugh, why do I even try?
Right, and that's when we need to be kind to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's okay to make mistakes. It's all part of the process,
Yeah.
Cait even talks about how, she wasn't perfect during her year of less. She had moments where she was really tempted to buy things she didn't need.
All right.
But it's all about acknowledging those setbacks and then just recommitting to your goals.
I think that's the biggest thing is just not letting it completely derail you.
Totally. Yeah. Progress over perfection, right?
Absolutely. What's number 8?
Number 8 is to reframe your relationship with money.
Okay. Interesting.
So it's not about seeing money as this thing that you need to hoard or use to chase fleeting desires. It's about seeing it as a tool to support your values and your goals.
That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, it shouldn't control you.
Exactly.
You should be controlling it.
Yes. Cait talks about how she realized true wealth wasn't about having tons of money.
Yeah.
It was about aligning her spending with her priorities and using her resources to create a life that felt meaningful.
Yeah.
So that's a big shift in perspective.
Totally. It's it takes the focus off of constantly wanting more.
Exactly.
And more and more. It's okay, what do I have and how can I make the most of it?
Exactly. And that leads us to number 9.
Ooh, what's 9?
Start small and build momentum.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to completely overhaul your life overnight.
Right. Yeah.
It can be really overwhelming to try to do everything at once.
Yeah.
So start by setting small, achievable goals.
Okay.
And celebrate every step along the way.
I love that.
Right.
Even if it's just tackling that junk drawer.
Totally. Yeah. Any progress is good progress.
It's about that momentum, right?
It is. Yeah. It's about creating a sense of accomplishment and building your confidence so that you can keep going.
Okay. That makes sense. I like that. What's number 10?
Number 10. This is, I think, one of the most important ones. Change is an ongoing journey, not a destination.
Yeah. I feel like we've been kind of hitting on that this whole time.
We have. Yeah. It's a continuous process of growth and self-discovery.
Yeah.
It's not you reach the finish line and then you're done.
Right.
It's about embracing that journey, being open to new experiences, new challenges. And, Cait's journey didn't end after her year of less.
Right.
She continued to evolve, refine her values, and adapt her lifestyle to fit her changing needs.
Yeah.
So it's a reminder that we're all capable of growth.
For sure.
No matter where we're starting from.
Wow, so much to think about, right?
Yeah.
Like, Cait's story is it's really inspiring.
It is, yeah.
Like, it shows us that, like, less stuff can actually lead to, like, a richer, more fulfilling life.
Totally.
But, like, before we wrap up,
yeah,
I think it would be helpful to just, like, recap those 10 takeaways, like those little nuggets of wisdom that we can all, like, apply to our own lives.
Absolutely. So let's revisit those key insights. We left off with number 5.
Okay.
Cultivate supportive relationships.
Yeah.
It's so important to have those people in your corner,
yeah,
friends, family who understand your goals and can, like, cheer you on.
Yeah, your own personal cheer squad.
Exactly. It makes a world of difference.
Absolutely. Okay, number 6.
Number 6 is to find joy in those non-material things.
Right. Yeah.
Remember those experiences, connection, creativity,
good stuff,
nature, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's so easy to forget. Like, when you're just so focused on, like, getting the next thing that you forget about, like, those simple pleasures.
Totally.
Yeah.
And, like, Cait talks about how she found so much joy in, like, spending time outdoors, connecting with her loved ones, being creative.
Yeah.
And those things brought her way more happiness than any shopping trip.
For sure. Okay, number 7.
Number 7, be prepared for setbacks.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big one.
It is, because change is not always easy.
No.
There are going to be times when you slip up, you go back to old habits.
Right.
It's important to remember that's okay.
Yeah.
You're human.
Like, give yourself some grace.
Exactly. It's all part of the process.
Absolutely. Okay, number 8.
Number 8 is to reframe your relationship with money.
Ooh, I'd like that.
It's not about seeing it as this, like, evil thing or something that you need to, like, constantly chase.
Right.
It's about seeing it as a tool to support your values, to help you achieve your goals.
It's like it's there to serve you.
Exactly. You're in control.
Not the other way around.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. Number 9.
Number 9 is to start small and build momentum.
Yeah, we talked about this.
We did. It's so important.
Like those little wins, right?
Yes, little wins lead to big changes.
Yeah, totally. Okay, and the final one, number 10.
Number 10. This is a big one. Remember that change is an ongoing journey.
It's not a destination.
It's not a destination.
You don't just, like, arrive and you're done.
Exactly. It's a continuous process of, like, learning and growing and evolving.
Absolutely. So it's really about, like, embracing that process.
Totally.
And, like, being open to, like, wherever it takes you.
Exactly. And, Cait's journey didn't end after that year.
Right.
She keeps evolving. She keeps refining her values.
Yeah.
And, her story really just shows us that we're all capable of that.
For sure.
No matter where we start.
Absolutely. So, I mean, what does this all mean? Like, what does this deep dive tell us about the year of less?
Yeah.
It's more than just, like, getting rid of stuff, right?
Oh, way more.
It's about, like, examining our habits, redefining, like, what success even means.
Yeah.
And just choosing to live more intentionally.
Absolutely.
Even when things get tough.
Totally. So for everyone listening out there, think about this.
Yeah.
If you were to embark on a year of less, what would you let go of?
What could you gain by simplifying?
Big questions, but important ones.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Yeah.
But thank you all for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.
Into the year of less. And remember,
yes,
change is a journey,
not a destination.
Start small, be kind to yourself,
and celebrate every step along the way.
We'll see you next time.